Hi, I'm Len Kaufman, and welcome to Xi'an in Shaanxi Province, China. Shaanxi is a province in the northwest of China, near the border of Mongolia. Xi'an, which is probably the most well-known city in the province, was a starting point for the Silk Road and is one of the oldest cities in China. Let's begin our stay in Xi'an with a visit to the Bailin Museum, also called the Stella Forest, where we can gain some insight into the city's history. Here, over 3,000 stelas, stone slabs, inscribed with Chinese calligraphy, may be found. The stelas represent every Chinese dynasty. Also, over 150 Buddhist statues are found here. These artifacts are housed in an ancient Confucian temple. Occupying a dramatic place in Xi'an is the Xi'an City Wall. The construction of the wall was started by the first emperor of the Ming dynasty, Zhu Yuanzhang, in the 1300s. Built in a rectangular shape, the wall is 8.7 miles in circumference, 35 feet high and 40 feet wide. You can stroll around the top of the wall or rent a bike. China contains about 1.3 billion people. 37 million of those people live in Shaanxi, and of those 37 million, about 9 million live in Xi'an. Within the city wall is the Muslim quarter. About 30,000 Muslims live in this area, and their history can be traced back to the 8th century Tang dynasty. Many of the ancient Muslims were merchants that traveled the Silk Road. Today, walking along Huimin Street, surrounded by bustling commerce, we're in a great place for street food. I love street food as I feel it's a wonderful way to get an authentic taste of a culture. I hope you save some energy to catch a show tonight. Though the title, A Song of Everlasting Sorrow, may be a bit off-putting, you will talk about this performance for years to come. I've been to many Broadway and London West End shows, but I've never seen anything near the scale of this epic production. It's a most incredible display of Chinese music, dance, art, lighting, and design, telling the tragic story of the Emperor Tang Huanzong and his favorite concubine. Built at the HuaShan Palace, it is performed in an outdoor setting against Mount Li and is guaranteed to amaze you. I'm just not sure what would have happened had it rained. Another notable excursion out of metropolitan Xi'an is to the Ling Mausoleum, which is about 50 miles away. There, you will find the tomb of Emperor Guozhong and his Empress Wu Zetian of the Tang Dynasty. This is the only instance of a mausoleum being shared by a husband and wife, and Wu Zetian was the only woman to have ruled China. She died in 705. The Chinese reverence for the dead is instantly apparent from the magnitude and grandeur of this site. Some vendors line the walkway to the mausoleum. This boy, studying his lessons, is the son of one of those vendors. Students in China's primary and secondary schools spend an average of 3 hours on homework assignments every day, twice the global average. If you'd like to explore outside of metropolitan Xi'an, a 2-hour drive will take you to Mount Hua Shan. If you tried to climb the mountain on your own, you might not have enough energy left for anything else. But fortunately, a cable car takes you halfway up the 7,000-foot mountain. You can climb further up from the top of the cable car landing. There are temples and shrines on the mountain, and the view is spectacular. Just thinking about all that hiking can work up quite an appetite. So back in town, inside the city wall, a visit to the Deifa Chang Dumpling restaurant will soothe the hungry beast within. This well-known establishment has 4 floors and at least 30 rooms. A seemingly never-ending procession of dumplings emerged from the kitchen in various shapes, colors, and contents, many defying identification, but not a bad one in the bunch. I'm not used to eating so much for lunch, and a nap seemed in order. But it was not to be. After all, how often do I get to China? I have to see everything I can while I'm here, and no trip to Xi'an would be complete without a visit to the giant Wild Goose Buddhist Pagoda. It was originally built in 652 during the Tang Dynasty, though it has been rebuilt and renovated several times due to earthquakes and other causes. Its function was to contain sutras, which are religious texts, and figurines of the Buddha brought to China from India. If you return to this area in the evening, be sure to visit Kaiyuan Square. You'll find it brightly illuminated with beautiful fountains and light shows. It's a very comfortable place for a stroll. I've saved the best for last. Probably the most famous must-see site in Xi'an is the Mausoleum of the first Qin Emperor, Qin Shi Huang, where we see the archaeological site containing thousands of clay soldiers, the Terracotta Army. The emperor was the first to unify China. Before he died in 2010 BC, he had this mausoleum built underground by 700,000 workers. They formed the Terracotta Warriors to accompany the emperor into the afterlife, and upon his death, he was buried here with the terracotta figures along with his concubines. It's probably best to try to schedule your visit to this site late in the day, as it is less crowded. About 15,000 people pass through this site daily. The site remained buried and forgotten until 1974, when some farmers digging a well came upon it. The state archaeologists recognized it for what it was, an incredibly important historical find. Today they continue to excavate the site and to put some of the broken statues back together. More than a little assembly is required. The rest, as they say, is history. Another Xi'an site that's sure to impress.